to move a layer higher in terms of privacy. Well, because Google is collecting my location, who are they sharing it with? Who else knows where I'm located when I'm browsing for pizza? Do they share it with their advertisers? Do they share the time that I search for it with? And then you start to think, this is getting a little creepier. Advertisers now know when I've got a hankering for food or whenever I search something. They know where, or potentially know where I searched for it at. They know what time I searched for it. And they can start to build a profile about you. And I mean, I personally, in terms of privacy, I think that we shouldn't have advertisers that know your most intimate detail without you even understanding what you're sharing. Google doesn't instantly say, hey, if you don't have your GPS on, we'll just send some Wi-Fi access points around you. If you turn off GPS location assistance for web applications, we're going to send your Wi-Fi to try and guess where you're at. They don't allow you to turn that off. We also continue through, and we get a little bit more interesting information as well. We have the LAN MAC address, the WAN MAC address, the WL MAC address, and the LAN IP, what type of wireless you're using, what type of protocol it's using, what the active wireless is. I mean, and I could keep reading through it, and I just for no reason, Google knows how long I've been up, or how long the uptime has been on my device, the actual IP of it, the load average, etc. And might I reiterate that you know all of this just because I popped open a web browser. It's quite crazy, and it's insanely disturbing in terms of privacy, because you think, why do they need to know this? Well, now we're going to look at why data is collecting. And I'm hypothesizing here. We've got advertising. We've got statistics, because obviously they want to know, are you using your application, what you're using it for, etc. We have advertising. We have legitimate business purposes. So maybe an application needs to know what version of Android you're using so it's effective. We have advertising. We have things that can increase the value of a service. So, I mean, it's helpful when you search for pizza that they search for pizza near you. We have advertising. And I hope I've made my point here, as you guys have caught on. I'm repeating advertising over and over and over, because advertising is, again, the #1 reason why they collect this information. And maybe they could collect it without advertising, but it's the #1 reason that they use. Why do you need where you're located? We need to give you the correct ads. Why do we need to know Wi-Fi around you? Well, I mean, that helps us find your location, which helps you get proper ads. Why do you need to know my device version? Well, I mean, if we're going to run an ad on your screen, we need to know what resolution it's at. It's creepy. So in terms of this, what about man-in-the-middle attacks? Traffic can be intercepted. You can use SSL strip, exploits, etc. And so just from sniffing your traffic, from you hopping on my Wi-Fi point, I know you haven't applied your latest carrier upgrade. I know you decided to root your phone and put gingerbread on it from a certain community. I know exactly what device you have, where you've been, etc. And to hackers, this is all very, very fascinating information, right? If I know that you're using a phone that your carrier decided not to upgrade and that there are active vulnerabilities in it, I also know that I can screw you. I know that if I have one of the exploits probably released at DEF CON or that I made myself targeting the Shoals platform with against gingerbread, I know I'm going to have a 100% effective rate. And I know this just because you're playing Angry Birds on my wireless network. Or, not that I've done this yet, you happen to be within a certain foot range of my femtocell and are on my cellular network. But that's a whole nother talk. And so, I kind of want to go back to the original question I asked. To what extent do participants in the cellular ecosystem, app creators, OS creators, carriers, etc., respect user privacy? My answer? Not very much. And the reason for this is that no one's really called out for it. And I don't mean to wax too poetically. I mean, we're at DEF CON. I think a lot of people here really believe in privacy. We've got the Electronic Frontier Foundation who fights for our privacy. And yet, for convenience, we sacrifice our privacy. For the ability to Google something out of your pocket, to run the little location GPS on your phone to find out where you're going, to do any of these things, you're sacrificing your privacy. I mean, and that's fine. I mean, if that's something that you want to do and that you're comfortable with, that's fine. But myself, I don't like Google knowing my neighbors have very creative wireless access point names. I don't like Google knowing exactly where I'm located when I browse a website. I don't like when I use turn-by-turn navigation, Google knows exactly when I'm taking those turns. And I don't mean to pick on Google. They happen to have the phone that I was able to obtain. You can only postulate what's on an Apple iPhone, what's on a BlackBerry, etc. And the greatest tie-in with this is that in terms of privacy, all of these companies, and let's assume a beautiful, perfect world, all of these companies believe in your privacy, which is patently false. But let's say they do. Well, aside from that, what about the people that have access to your traffic? As I stated before, I did all of these. Let me go back a little bit. I ran strings and collected all these packets so long ago on my own network, and I was able to analyze this. But how many people are able to write filters, put out a Wi-Fi point, put out a femtocell, and as soon as you walk by, you've instantly shared so much information about yourself? I mean, if someone walked next to you and asked to rifle through your wallet, what would you say? No, sir. But if you just happen to walk by a store and they happen to know certain details about you, they could change their advertising. Going forward, I mean, and this is kind of near the postulation stage. All of this information is available, and whether companies are and they're not protecting it. This is all sent in clear text. So if you were to hypothesize into a future where, and I hope I'm not giving these people ideas, this is just where my own head has gone. Imagine an idea where on your Android phone, it's sharing all of this information. You happen to wander past a supermarket, and all of a sudden you're saying, oh, I really do feel hungry for Mountain Dew. I do really want some chips. I understand I just said hungry for Mountain Dew. I'm very thirsty for Mountain Dew. 10 a.m. on a Sunday. All of a sudden I see an advertisement that says Mountain Dew, really cool. And I think to myself, oh, perfect timing. I'm going to get myself some Mountain Dew, right? But is that exactly right? I mean, I may have bought the Mountain Dew beforehand, but it's almost an abuse of trust and an abuse of your privacy to take a look into your private thoughts and your phone and to share it out with the world. I mean, let's apply this towards politics. All of this information is bought, sold, and traded. All this information that's being shared on your phone that you don't quite realize. So all of a sudden, I'm someone in politics, and I'm like, I want to be the perfect politician. Well, I've got these advertisers over here that are allowed on all these applications that you download and use. And you're like, oh, sweet, I'm going to use the free version. It's ad-supported rather than paying $1.99. But when you do that, you give away a little bit of privacy. It's not just you're giving away, oh, I'm going to ignore that ad. You're giving away your privacy. And they take this information, they take what device version you have, where you're located, where you've been, what you like to buy, what you like to search for, and they correlate it together. It's their goal to find out who you actually are. Because when these companies might have your best interests at heart. They might say, hey, we don't collect your real name. But when someone else buys this data that's in your unique ID, they correlate it with other public data, and they kind of jumble it all together. They know who you are. They know where you live. They know your favorite color. And so, taking this along the political idea, imagine a future where politicians know every constituent in their district. They know this because their cell phones are in that district. They know this because all of those cell phones have exposed what everyone does. They know what people search for. They know whether they read the Huffington Post or Fox. They know what percentage of people do this. They know what grocery stores you shop at. And they can take this data. They can take this data that's been correlated along all these different avenues. They can combine it, and they can go, oh, hey, my district is 68% likely to vote Democrat or Republican. Okay. Or no, let's even do something closer. It's like, oh, my district is 55% likely to vote Republican. But most of those people, like 10%, are not likely to vote, which means I probably need to pitch myself towards the Democratic side. Okay, well, if I'm pitching myself towards the Democratic side, I see that most of the people on this side are value shoppers. They like to shop for the value brands. Well, now I shop for the value brands. I talk about value when I talk to my constituents. I make them think, oh my gosh, this politician is me. I believe in them. I can affiliate with this person. I'm going to vote for them. But what they don't realize is whoever this person is, they have tailored themselves meticulously to look exactly like the person that these people want or that these people are, that these people would want to see. This is the power that correlating data has. This is the power that just using these applications on your cell phone by sharing out your device ID, your location data, the Wi-Fi access points can share. So kind of tying back to my hypothesis, I said software applications and operating systems transmit private user information to the author or third parties without the user's knowledge and consent. So, I mean, throughout this talk I've stated personal data, identifying data, sent. Whether it's encrypted or not, it can be SSL stripped. And there was some data, and actually to talk a little bit, I promised you a little bit about some of the applications I did test Redphone. I did take a look at, hey, you know, I know Moxie believes in privacy, but does he put his walk, or does he, I mean, walk in the steps that he talks? And I actually couldn't intercept his traffic. Fascinating. And I was like, well, let's look into this. Apparently, Moxie, having broken SSL, knows how to secure his shit. And he does. So it's definitely doable. These companies can make your information private. They can make it so that I can't intercept it on the wire. But the problem is they don't. They view it as not important data. Or, I mean, maybe not necessarily not important, but not sensitive. They don't take the time to protect it. They don't want to invest in servers so that they can encrypt it over the wire. And so I thought, okay, I mean, and even if they do, it's still exploitable. Facebook application. You can use SSL strip, username and password. Boom, done. Applications send usernames, passwords, contact lists, location data, usage statistics, timing of activities, and other content. Kind of give it away. I said they were. Were we right? Yeah. We were right on all of those counts. All of them. And this is only using very basic packet analysis on these applications. And when I say basic, I didn't want to make this talk overly technical because I hope to make it a bridge between kind of the more technical field of network forensics and the non-technical field of privacy and kind of merge them together so that there's a little bit for both sides. But if you're a privacy advocate, I would highly recommend you taking a look at network forensics. Being able to look and see, hey, what are applications sharing? What are these operating systems sharing? When I go to google.com, did I know my Wi-Fi access points are showing? Did I know my IP address is showing, etc.? And that was all with very, very basic testing. And so to kind of conclude, I don't think a lot of people realize your smartphone erodes your privacy, and you agreed to it. And that's the worst part. You agreed to it, it's allowed, and until people start saying, hey, companies, we don't want our information shared. You don't need to know the wireless access points around me when I'm trying to look for something, specifically even when I said I don't want location data shared. But the problem is you agreed to it. You scrolled through the pages and pages and pages and stuff and said, okay. And even beyond that, a lot of people don't understand the importance of the data they're sharing. They don't understand that when they're sharing this information, they're sharing it not with the world. Well, no, they are sharing it with the world. They're sharing it with everyone. And then they think, I mean, they just build it up and they say, oh, yeah, well, I'm sorry, I'm starting to digress from my original point. Essentially what I want to say is that information, what can be seen as benign information that companies collect can be intercepted. It can be taken by that original company. It can be correlated. It can be tied to you, and it can be used for nefarious purposes. And you should be aware of this. And if you're curious about more applications, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build out from my original research. Essentially what I did was a very manually intensive, time-intensive process. I am working on automating that process. I would like to have an emulator that downloads and installs every application of the Android market, runs it through its paces a little bit, analyzes its packet capture data for passwords, other, I wouldn't say shicey looking information, but important information, and can go through each one. And that's what I'm going to be working on. What I'm also going to be working on, and what this is kind of hinted me towards, is advertising. It's this kind of nether region that, and maybe this is just me, but I didn't quite realize the fact that